Hey everybody, John Franklin Reviewer here, and I am here doing my spoiler review of Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, on my spoiler free, and I really do apologize about this, I did forget to put my rating down on it. I am going to go 2.5 out of 4 stars on that movie. So it's still a recommend for sure, I gotta be honest here. So without trying to waste too much time, and besides this could be possibly a long video here, let's get going in the spoiler stuff here. The first thing I want to talk about is the main plot of the villains here. Well, I get on one side, but not the other side so much. On the first side is Ra's al Ghul brought Shredder and the Foot into Gotham to help destroy Gotham. Okay, so you bring another big hitter in from another part of New York City here. Why not? I like that idea. Go from there. But with Shredder's part of it, you know, he of course is thinking just about himself here. And of course with Ra's to a point too, like, hey, I want this destroyed. Can you help me though? That with Shredder, he wants the Lazarus Pit. He actually wants to be young forever if he can. You know, he wants to live for 1,000 years and destroy his enemies, as he says to Batman. I get the whole thing, but you know what? Every movie I've seen about the, you know, Fountain of Youth or something like this with the Lazarus Pit, other than Ra's himself, it never ends well for anybody else, truthfully, okay? Look at Batman Under the Red Hood, honestly. Same thing. He went crazy. Shredder was already a bad guy, but Jason Todd was not, honestly. You know, not at first. He was a small-time, you know, criminal, you know, as a kid and teenager, but he's no Shredder. I'll say that for sure. So I was just thinking about Shredder and the Foot can live forever. It would be worse probably than what he is now, truthfully. With Shredder and Ra's, they go to Arkham. You're thinking they could have just released all the inmates and just release them and let them go after Gotham themselves too. You know, kind of thing. They could have been one huge battle, and that would have been really cool. That would have probably been a better third act than what we got if we got everybody. You know, we had, you know, Mr. Freeze and the Joker and Harley Quinn and everybody else teamed up with Shredder, Ra's al Ghul, and the Foot. That would have been fun, honestly. But who knows, maybe that would have been a little too more slapstick, a little bit too more Adam Westy or something like that. But I think that would have been a pretty cool ending. But what the hell they decide to do is turn pretty much everybody that's already there at Arkham into animals. I can't remember them all, but you get like the Joker as a snake, you get Mr. Freeze as a polar bear, which makes sense on that. For both of those two makes sense. You get Harley Quinn as a dog, and then you had like a couple other ones. Oh, Poison Ivy as a big tree. So yeah, you get others ones, unfortunately I can't remember them all, forgive me on that there. And the whole thing was to distract the Turtles and Batman, which it does work, because the thing is that the Foot had to go to different places like Power Industries, Wayne Corporate, that they go in, and the biggest thing that actually happens, well, two big things. Leo gets hit by the fear toxin, which he's afraid of his brothers dying, which in his mind, he thinks that the Scarecrow killed his brothers, which of course Batman has to pretty much tell, no, he did not kill them. It's just what could happen, almost like a prediction if Scarecrow ever got close enough to his brothers like that, you know. But of course, Leo was able to snap out of it and take out the Scarecrow. Batman gives Leo the antidote there, which was nice. And then a little bit later into, still at Arkham and all that, Mr. Freeze is able to capture Batman with the freeze gun, pretty much freezes his body, keeps his face and his neck open. And the thing is, the Joker comes in as a snake he is, literally, and he has the ooze and the Joker toxin, puts them both together, and he had just enough to shoot Batman up to turn him into Man-Bat. Well, for probably a few minutes or so, Man-Bat, of course, he's flying around, and he attacks Two-Face, he attacks Mr. Freeze and all that there. And then it's pretty much, you know, everybody else just seems like Poison Ivy. She was stuck as a tree. She was in one room and didn't realize she was stuck to the floor. She wasn't going to walk like a tree from like Lord of the Rings or something like that. So, and the thing was, it was just down to the Joker and Hurley, while the Turtles, Batgirl, and Robin had to try to save Batman first. You're thinking that Joker and Harley Quinn would try to run away. Never, unfortunately, ever happens. But the thing is that they eventually finally get the antidote or ooze to actually get Batman back into his human state again. And who it was, first it was Leonardo, he couldn't do it, but it ended up being Michelangelo who ended up doing it. So I thought that was kind of funny on that there too. So I really did like that. And of course later on, you know, Batman's in the Batcave and Michelangelo's like, I didn't know that Batman and Bruce Wayne was the same person. It's like, oh my God, rich and cool? You know, how about say a little bit more for the rest of us here? I thought that was excellent because Michelangelo's humor was really good. There was times it was overboard, but he had a really fun time with it there. So the thing was that, of course, at one point there, that they finally realized where your villains are going to be, where it's going to take place. It was the Ace chemical plant where the Joker was born. So the thing there, for any of that, of course, Batman's like saying, okay, Robin, Batgirl, we're going to Ace Chemical. The Turtles are going home. Well, of course, Batman has to be the Batman he is, which it wouldn't work out any other way, though. But who comes over but Raphael and starts telling him all these different stories about, Batman, I agree with what you do, but you know what? At the same time, I've done some stupid mistakes, and my brothers had to protect me and have a release me and get all that going. Even at one point, Raphael actually grabs Batman by the arm and turns him around, and everybody's shocked. But where it does get the humor, once again, is Michelangelo. Everybody else was shocked almost the same time. Michelangelo was a bit late on that there, but that's what kind of broke the tension there. But the thing was, because of what Raph said to Batman, Batman's like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I will need you guys. So, and Act 3 was just so good in its own way. Loved all that kind of stuff there. And the thing is, like I said, you get through all the fights and all that. You get Shredder and Batman fighting. And there was even a scene in there where Shredder even says to Batman, any last words, pretty much before I'm going to, you know, take your life here. And Batman says, Cowabunga. Now, I will be honest, I've owned this movie for, you know, what, maybe a couple months now or something like that. And I'm still on the fence with it if I like it or not. I will be honest with you, just that alone, give me a comment down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Or are you like me, you on the fence? But I love it, like Shredder's like, what, Cowabunga? And then Raph comes out of nowhere with his shell. He's swinging with the shell, knocks off Shredder's mask, and there's his 3 scratches. I don't know why, I was like thinking that they won't fuck that up, and I was just so excited to see those 3 scratches, honestly. The Cloud Seeker that Baxter was actually making, what happened was supposed to be this huge, pretty much big ooze to destroy, have everybody destroy themselves, as much as Roz did this with Scarecrow in the Christopher Nolan's Batman 2005. It's pretty much the same thing. You just take away Scarecrow, even though he was in this one, Arkham, and you just put in Shredder on this one. Well, what happens is that Donatello actually he already has a broken arm, so he's pretty much hanging on with one hand, the other one's just kind of there, and Michelangelo end up on the Sky Seeker, and what happens is that when it breaks through the ceiling glass, you know, Michelangelo doesn't know what to do. It's like, Donnie, I don't know how to do this stuff. He hits his hand on one of the computers and it starts, you know, blowing up, you know, starts smoking and all that. And it's like, oh, it's like Michelangelo, whatever you're doing, keep it up. And he starts like pretty much kicking the ass out of this computer. Well, what happens is it blows up, the turtles fly down, they suck themselves into their shell, and they land on one of those blimps that Michelangelo earlier against the Penguin's henchmen looks up and says, well, what are they for, those blimps? Those cool. We don't get those in New York City. So, and of course, they end up like landing on that. Michelangelo's like, oh, that's what they're for, you know. But what happens is that the big machine goes down, and instead of just falling straight down, and Shredder should have fell down with it, he pretty much bounces on one of the pipes up in the air, and he flies down into one of the vast chemicals. So what happens is that you got that going there, and then you actually have, at the very end, you got Batman and the Turtles eating some pizza before the Turtles have to go and all that stuff. Now, before I get to the very end of this after credits scene here. Other stuff I want to talk about is Michelangelo and how much he's fascinated with the Penguin because of his umbrellas. You know, the Penguin thinks it's actually Batman. Even Raph at one point says, "What do you think I am, a freaking bat? No, we're turtles," and all that there. Michelangelo likes to scare one of the henchmen with it, and says, "We're aliens, dude," and stuff like that. But when Michelangelo sees the Penguin has an umbrella gun, the umbrella turns into a sword or knife, however you want to look at it. And then, of course, the Penguin's the only one that escaped, and he flies off. And Michelangelo's, "Oh my God, I love this little guy," and all this kind of stuff. And it's like Gotham is bonkers and all that. Then it's when, of course, he also mentions about the blimp and all that there. I thought that was really cool. I feel like that Baxter Stockman was kind of a waste. They could have just had any kind of scientist build this up. I just felt like he's a big guy. I mean, he's not a fighter, he's a scientist, but I wanted to see more from him, and he wasn't in it that much. Robin was another one that just felt like he had maybe a couple quick things to do, and that was it. And then Batgirl, again, I felt like she was kind of wasted in that too, along with all of your Gotham, villains. All of them were just wasted. Turn them into animals, and hated that there. Okay, and then the final thing I'm going to talk about here is the after credit scene here, which I doubt there's going to be a sequel, but man, it feels like it doesn't make any sense if they don't do one to a point. I think it was a little wink and nod to Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze with Super Shredder. But what happens is that they show the chemical plant all, blown up and all that, and Shredder, his hand comes out of the rubble and he pulls himself out and all that. He starts laughing. All of a sudden, he turns his head towards the camera because the camera's back on him, and there's the white face and the green hair, and I'm like, Joker, Shredder, kind of hybrid there, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I was just like, oh my God. No, it doesn't, to me, it does make sense because he fell in the vats of acid, but I'm just like, again, if there's not going to be a sequel to this one, and again, there probably will not be, I would just be like, would they ever really do the balls, have the balls to actually do something like that? I don't know. Have to see on that there. Okay, folks, so that was my Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles spoiler review here. Hopefully you did like it. Give me a comment down below. Anything that I've missed, I will try to comment back on you about something I may have liked or didn't like and give you reasons why, because I knew I wasn't going to get through every little thing here. And as always, stay awesome.